Hello, teachers. This is the instructional guide for Primary 4, Term 1, Week 1. Okay, so for this week, we're going to focus on two booklets. The second booklet is a bit challenging when it comes to rounding numbers, so which is why I only allocated these two booklets for this week. Okay, so let's start with the first booklet. It is on forming number patterns. So as per normal, I think the for this kind of question, right, it's important for students to establish the relationship between numbers, right, especially when they're doing questions like this, right? When given a number line, it's important to draw the arrow to find out what's the difference, right? Whether it's an increase of 1,000, right, or whatever number that is, or a decrease, right? So as a general rule of thumb, right, just take the bigger number and subtract the number, you'll be able to find out, right, whether it is plus or minus a certain number. Okay, so the way to describe it, right, is the phrasing that we recommend is this. So for example, the difference between the first number and the second number and subsequent numbers is plus 100. We write it as each successive number is 100 more than the previous number, right? So teach student the phrasing, right? If it's less, we will write each successive number is 100 less than the previous number. Okay. All right, so the first few questions, right, I got to practice, got to do it. It's fairly easy, right? So I think you don't have to model for them. Questions to look out for will be the later ones here, right? Some students could be a bit more confused, right, between filling the blanks here. But the first one is quite easy. 10 more than 13,789 will be 13,789 plus 10. For second one, 28,195 is how many more than 27,995? So it's quite easy, right? Again, we take the idea of bigger number minus smaller number, right? And then we can get answer there. What about this one here? 100 less than, so it's 50,784 minus 100. What more than is plus, all right? So get them to do this. For this kind of question, right, important for them to, might want to remind them, right, how to do the question. So they need to establish the pattern. So it's a good practice for them to do this out, write the arrows, and after that, find out what's the increasing number. Okay, so please use this method to go through with them. All right, and then after that, for independent practice, I would think that these we can actually skip some of these questions to be science homework, and let's focus on this instead. All right, so I would suggest, right, that perhaps to get them to do the last 3 questions, right, Hij. You don't have to demonstrate, get them to do, and then after that, you check whether the answers are correct. Okay, last 3 questions here as well. Okay, last 3 questions. Okay, and then for this, it is a bit challenging. Now they have to find out whether it's less or more. They're few words. So for example, let's take a look at using A to demonstrate. 34,890 is 200. What do they think? Is it less or more? Right? If they put more, okay, 289, sorry, 34,890, it is more. Is it correct? Now let's look at 34,890. Is 38,490 more than 35,090? It is not, right? So the answer should be less. So this is actually one trick of doing that here. Same thing here, 7,000. So this is a bit different. So now this is 7,000 less, right? That less than 98,156 is this, right? So a bit of which I think important for them to go through quite a few questions here, right? Because it's usually about the phrasing, right? The phrasing. Okay. Okay, so again, right? This one you can actually compare these two numbers. 98,000. If it is more, then it'd be a way more. 1,556 plus 7,000, isn't it? So it should be minus 7,000. So work a few questions, and once you're comfortable that they're able to do this on their own, you can get them to do Hij on their own. Okay, check the answers. All right, then for these questions here, same thing, right? Establish the pattern. So some of this question has minus in it, right? So warn them, right? Look at it, all these here, right? There is addition, And then there's also subtraction. So make sure that they do this, right? Work on the first question with them, right? Pattern. So for example, 56,300, so it's minus 100, correct? And after that, what's the next pattern? 56,200, 56,400, so it's plus 200. All right, and then what's the next pattern? Okay, minus 100. So it seems clear by now that is going on a minus 100 plus 200, minus 100 plus 200 kind of format. Right, plus 200. Sorry, not using a proper pen to do this, right? So minus 100. So work this out with them, right? Tell them that it's important to work out the pattern. And then maybe get them to do C, no, and an E to check, right? Perhaps only one question because I see some harder questions here, right? After that, can get them to do I and J as well, right? So have some range of question for them to do. So for this question here, perhaps do one question with them. Remind them of the phrasing. If they can forget the phrasing, is at the start of the class. Sorry, at the start of the lesson. It shows how it's phrased. But before they do that, they of course need to find the pattern first. Okay. Right. So here you'll find that it is 60, right? It's minus 60, minus 60, minus 60. All right. Okay. Now, so this one is a bit more challenging. One of the pattern is wrong. Show them how to do one. Right? There's a sample. Show them how to do one. And then get them to do one on their own. Okay? And then the rest can be assigned homework. Okay? For this year, they're supposed to form a pattern. Right? So maybe do one question with them. You can collaborate, co-work with them. Right? Ask them, like how they can arrange it so that they can form patterns here. Okay, possible answers, and let's see. Okay, question 9, I think it's important to go through with them. Right, so show them how to do this. They got to work it out like that. All right, get them to answer the question first. Dylan has 5,500 at the beginning of the year. That's first. Right, then he spends at the second month. So it will be minus 500. Right, they got to work it out. And then after that, save another 1,000. Then minus 500. Save another 1,000. So they can actually do the pattern here as well. Right? Write down the pattern. Get them to do it. So it's easy to see as well. Right? Minus 500 plus 1,000 minus 500 plus 1,000. All right? So they can actually work it out like that. And then perhaps 10 can be assigned homework. Okay. Now we move on to book 2. For book 2, it's about rounding to the nearest 10. Here you can use number lines. Right? Briefly go through with them. But I think what's more important, right, is for them to teach them this. Wait, let me see. To teach them this method here, right, rounding in nearest 10. What is the rule? So, for example, if you see a number, right, to demonstrate, you can use this as an example, or you can use another one, right? So to demonstrate, if let's say the number is 162, round off to the nearest 10 means that this is the 10th place. So in order to decide what rounding off to the nearest 10 means is to decide whether this should be 6 or to the next 10, which is 7. And whether it should remain as 6 or move on to 7 depends on this digit here. Okay, depends on the digit there. All right, if it is less than 5, then it will remain as 6. It is 5 or more, then it will make it to, it will push 6 to 7. So in this case, this is less than 5. So when you round to the nearest 10, it'll be 160. Sorry, let's write it here. Remember to get them to use this rounding off symbol. 160. Okay. Now demonstrate another set of number with them. What if it is 165? All right. So here is the 10. So you got to decide whether it will remain as 6 or to move up to the next 10, which is 7. And that depends on the place value on the right. Okay. All right. So since this is 5 or more, when you round up, it will become 170. I think this is an important method to teach them, right? So the rest are actually the same, right? Along the way, right? whether it's hundreds or thousands, right? It's the same, same philosophy or same concept, right? Let's say if it is 43,642, so round off to the nearest thousand. You look at the thousands place, decide whether this will remain as 3 or move up to 4, and that depends on the place value on its right. Since this is 6 will push 3 up to 4, right? 3,000 up to 4,000, so it will be 4,400. All right, so you can use your own example. Don't have to use the text, the materials, right, to show them how to do it. Okay, and then get them to do all the guided practice. It's quite a lot here, right? Number line. In fact, all these are using, number line. So yeah, there's one thing I don't like. Perhaps I think for the guided practice, right, they may not need to do so much of it, right? I would just perhaps just do the last few pages, page 12, because I think it's a bit repetitive. Okay, so what's more important is to get them to do something like that, right? So page 16, get them to do NPR, last few questions. All right, help them out, right? Nearest 10 means tens place. So this is the one they decide. Okay, so this one is a bit tricky, right? 9, and take note that when it's rounded up, it will need to be renamed as well. Okay, so you might want to show them how to do this, right? If they are not sure. Okay, or you can start with some simple ones first, like A, C, E. Okay, and then focus on the rest. Same thing, right? For hundreds, focus on the simple ones first, A and C, and then get them to do L and P. All right, same thing for this one nearest 1,000. We'll do one simple one first. Okay, A and C. This is interesting. Nearest 1,000, right? Which is this place value. So will it stay at 0 or push up to 1, right? 5 pushes 0 up to 1. Okay, and then get them to the last few questions, H, J, and H, J, and L. Okay, let's see. All right, now, so then we move on to some other tougher questions, right? All these things, you should do with them. Generally, I found that students have problem doing it, right? So for question 7, compulsory to do, right? Question 8, do with them as well. And then question 9, do it with them as well. All right. Don't have to just demonstrate, right? Can ask them, prompt them, right, for answers. 10 we skip, right? No need to do as homework, no need to do as in class. Okay. Now these are challenging questions. All right. So you might want to go through with them. 11. So actually a lot of things are quite new to them. Right. For some students, they may not know how to do this very well. And then show them how to do 12 as well. Okay. So what we usually do is, the way that we go about teaching them is, since this is a 5-digit number, draw out the 5 places yet. And then to help them, right, they can name the place value here. This is ones. This is tens. This is hundreds. This is thousands. This is 10,000s. Okay, so they can actually list out the numbers right here to try this out. Okay, a clue. Okay, let's see, anything else? Yeah, so users help them. They have to understand the range, right? What's the possible number, so they have to decide. So they realize that it has to be 52, right? The first 2 digits has to be 52 so that it falls into this range, because here is 52. Here is also 52, but here 53. So cannot be, right? Cannot be 53. If let's say the number is 5, first 2 digits 5 and 3, it does not meet this criteria. Okay, so they know that first 2 digits of the place value is 52. All right, so yeah, explain this and then the rest can be done as homework. Okay, all right, that's it for this week's lesson, P4 lesson. Signing out.